What is freedom? Did you know that you sacrificed 10 minutes of your freedom to come listen to me talk about freedom? You are a captive audience, and I'm sorry to say that you aren't allowed to leave during a speech. With that in mind, what is freedom? The French revolted against the crown. The Indians against the British rule. Well, 25% of the world against the British rule. It seems to be what we as a species have been continually fighting for. So it's something that we define as our utopia. There are many types of freedoms. Physical freedom, freedom of opinion, representation, choice, from enslavement. Freedom can mean many things. It can be as vast as the right to own property, to the right to bear guns, or to identify as a gender of choice from one of 64, or is it 90 now? Different genders across the planet. Of course people love the idea of it. Who wouldn't want the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Countries base their whole legislation off of it. And freedom in the past was limited. Although a lot of people would argue that nowadays freedom is still limited, and depending on your caste, creed, and identity, your sanctioned freedoms are in some cases they're taken away. But you have to agree that nowadays we have a lot more freedom than we did in the past. Women are given jobs. People of color are given a voice. But everything good in life comes at a cost. Where do we draw the line? Who gets freedom, who doesn't? Do we give a child the freedom to drive a car? No. That would be severely unhealthy for both the child and the unlucky pedestrian that happened to cross them. Not to mention the car. So age plays a factor in determining freedom. What about a 30-year-old who has a psychopathic tendency? Do we give him the freedom to wield a weapon? Give him a gun. As you can tell, so does mental stability. And if you keep going down that list, one by one, you'll be eliminating a lot of groups until one minuscule strata of society is left that deserves true freedom. What if someone decided that they wanted to ignore all laws and modern amenities and live in the jungle? Should we potentially allow that? Take Sam. Sam wants to wear his swimming trunks wherever he goes. He is allowed to do that, right? But when he wants to go into a 5-star hotel with a formal dress code, that's where his freedom stops. The owner of the hotel has the right to impose the rule as it's his property. This is a classic example of how your freedom can encroach upon other people's freedom. Now, what if you wanted to wear those same swimming trunks in the UAE or even Saudi? Laws and culture would prohibit that. So you can't look at freedom in isolation. It has to be looked at in conjunction with humanities, ethics, morality, and law. So this brings us to the question, what certain freedoms are worth fighting for? People have unlimited freedom and are still fighting for more. Places like America with rapidly growing obesity rates, gun violence, people taking out loans that they can never pay back. This sorry state of affairs begs the question, do we have too much freedom? People are making bad decisions and bad lifestyle choices due to lack of guidance. And with freedom comes a lot of responsibility. Responsibility for your actions and to take action to make things have a positive impact on you and the people around you. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have the ability to do so. Now, I know a lot of the audience, and I'm talking specifically to the young adults and children in the room, can't wait to go to university. Can't wait to become an adult and chase life and conquer the world. Have that positive outlook on life. But remember, although you're allowed to have cup ramen every day for the next 4 years of your life, and you have the freedom to do so, and it's tempting, I will admit, it's probably not the best decision. And like I said, with freedom comes great responsibility. Centuries ago, we were fighting to end slavery. Give people the right to vote. Allow people religious and political freedom. Allow people to go to the same place of education, place of worship, etc. Now people are fighting for the right to identify as something that isn't human. The right to not take vaccines. The right to not wear masks that could save thousands and thousands of lives. To better understand the dangers of freedom, let's take a step back. Let's imagine a world where we have unlimited freedom. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? Unlimited freedom from all sorts of interference would lead to anarchy, chaos, and anything but the perfect utopia we imagine. Moderation is a virtue, and extremity a vice. And to make this simpler, absolute freedom would lead to absolute chaos. But freedom isn't absolute. We do need freedom to survive. And every fight for freedom stems from the feeling of being repressed. And the repressed should and do fight for their freedom. They owe it to themselves to be free. There are some people in countries who are still fighting for land. And on the other side of the world, they're fighting to be called a certain pronoun and infringe upon other people's right of speech. And this can only work if the person has the mental capacity to understand the repercussions on society and the world as a whole. You can only have freedom if you don't have society. Let's say a girl puts up a picture on social media, Instagram, let's say, and she gets comments calling her ugly. Now, the commenters had a freedom of opinion, right? They had the right to say that, and since she put the picture up online, they had the freedom to do that. Yet, she also had the freedom to put up that picture online and be treated decently. Because morally, nobody would make such comments, right? Yet, 2 days later, she commits suicide due to those comments. She didn't have the mental capacity to be able to deal with that negativity. So can I ask you, was it the parents' fault for not protecting their children from others and making sure they don't have the freedom to have that social media account until they feel like they're ready? Do the parents have the duty to restrict them? The reason I brought this up is to ask you, what next? What freedom do you think we should or should not give? And are we prepared mentally and socially for the freedoms that we so desperately fight for? And with that, I will leave you to enjoy your next couple of seconds of freedom till the next speech. My name is Ishika, and it has been a pleasure.